Fwrd Axis News, Future and Balance.
Welcome to Fwrd Axis Live, a Fwrd Axis news production, bringing you the latest stories in the worlds of news, sports, politics, and entertainment. Fwrd Axis News, Future and Balance.
Welcome to Fwrd Axis Live, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Michael.
And I'm Ty Jäger.
And, we're back, Ty, after about a week off. I got some personal stuff going on. I got a new job, so settling into that going and, not taking away from Big Brother or anything because, what a week. We took some time off, and while we were away, the dire twist played out completely. So we're here to recap everything that went down. I will say, a little bit of a surprise than what we predicted a week ago.
Very much a surprise.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to touch on it real quickly. We're just going to jump just real quick for those who may not have seen it, or we're just going to jump down into it. Last time we talked to you guys was last week, and whenever we talked, we were debating who was going to go where and things like that. So just to run down real fast, at Dire Fest or the outside group, you had Terrence's HOH. He selected Turner, Kyle, Alyssa, and Joseph, which means in the Big Brochella Insiders group, Michael was HOH, and he selected, no surprise, Brittany, Taylor, Monty, and Jasmine. So those were the groups that were separated. Did any of that surprise you?
Honestly, in the end, not really. I guess I'm trying to think back because again, this was a week ago that we all learned this. So I'm trying to go back a week ago and trying to remember, was this a surprise to me? In terms of how the picks went, Michael did smart pick by getting Jasmine his target first, and then everyone else followed. I thought that was a brilliant picking selection. With Terrence, it was kind of he knew his target was Joseph, and that was always going to be the fact. But you saw that pick, and you saw that team, and you're like, maybe something can shake up. But in the end, it didn't really go the fans' way, I would say.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't remember if I told you this on the podcast or in Twitter messages, but I said, I think I even tweeted this out publicly. I said, this twist was designed to do one thing, split up the leftovers, and that's exactly what it did. It was designed to make them go after each other, not see a final seven like the fans were even hoping for a final seven between this group. Maybe not Kyle so much, but you get the idea, and that's not going to happen now. So we're going to touch on all this. I'm sure we both have differing opinions on it. So after those splits, like you said, we were thinking it was going to go a certain way. Terrence's target was Joseph from the start. That was never going to change. But what did change is what happened before nominations. I remember because I was getting a haircut and I saw this pop up on my feed. Kyle exposed the leftovers. He exposed it to Turner, to Terrence, told him everything that went on, point blank. Now, thoughts on him doing that?
That was it was a pure game move. So because
Yes.
from all the diary rooms that we watched, it seemed like this 7 was close, and they were really trying to get to the final 7 and not try to break too early. But once it came to a point where when it came to Kyle's game specifically, now this is a stupid move overall. It's incredibly stupid, but it's a pure game move to protect himself at least this week and kind of at least set him up for the long run. And we'll talk about that later because we know what happened in Thursday night's episode.
Right.
But exposing the leftovers was a pure selfish game move. And I'm going to say some people will see that as negative. I'm just going to say that's not negative nor positive. It's just a selfish. It's trying to focus on himself, at least in this portion of the game. And that he has an alliance with he has his duo with Alyssa, which that's a final 2. Let's be honest. The showmances are always a final 2.
Mm-hmm.
But so he wants to protect himself, and he wants to protect his showmans or his number one person in the house, because I think he's aware game-wise, Joseph is a threat. He is in physical comps, and he's just mentality. He's been playing the house. So as a game move, it made sense. Now, is it a stupid move? At least this week. Now, for the rest of the game, I don't think it's going to go well, but I think he might have set himself up better than I think we all thought.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Okay, a couple of counter things here for you. So,
Hit me.
Joseph was Terrence's target, as we just said, and as we know from the jump. That was not going to change. So Kyle as you said, stupid game move. Or I don't know if you said the word stupid. Maybe I thought about it in my head. But yeah, I think it was a stupid move because we know he's been wanting to turn the leftovers for weeks. We've already talked about previously on this show about the whole wanting to divide them by race. We had the whole speculation. If you guys have not heard that, I highly recommend you check out our past episodes. We really get into a discussion about that. But so this is not something that Kyle just randomly thought about. He's been wanting to do this for a while. But when he goes to Terrence to tell him this, Terrence already had in his mind made up he was going to get Joseph was the target. So Kyle risked his own butt in this game through an alliance with the Pound, with the leftovers under the bus, when he really didn't necessarily need to, because he was never really the target. Then flip the other side to Joseph. Everyone, Jasmine, Indy, everybody who was in the house, they talk about Joseph and Monty being a big threat, big threat. Okay, the one who is the biggest threat is Michael because he's winning everything and he has a very strong social game, which no one's really paying attention to. But we'll get to him in a minute. But I don't understand how Joseph is this big competition threat when he's won nothing. He has not won a single competition all season. He leaves the house going to jury winning nothing at all. Same thing with Alyssa. She's won nothing, and she's a competition threat when she's done nothing. I mean, let's put it this way. At this point, Jasmine is more of a threat than Joseph or Alyssa or together. I mean, and one other thing I'll get to is we saw in the diary room, Kyle, he's really good at vetoes. He's really good at vetoes. He's won one thing all season. He's won.
All right, let's be honest. I think the only true competition beast in this whole house is Michael, with Turner as a close second. And I like Turner. I think he's won 2 games, right?
I believe HOH, and I think he won a veto. Yes.
So like Turner, would be second because he's the only other
person. Default, yeah.
Now suddenly all of a sudden Terrence is now a comp beast of winning 2 in a row. So I got to give it to Terrence at least this week. I got to give him props. He did well.
We'll get to that veto in a minute, but let me just say this. Okay, so it is a selfish game move on Kyle's part. I agree with you. I think it's stupid because he didn't really need to do it because him and Alyssa were never really the targets anyways.
And so in hindsight, though, as viewers, we already knew what Terrence's mind is. Kyle did not really know where Terrence's mind was.
Well, he did, though, because before nominations, he told both of them, separately, of course, my target is Joseph. I'm going to do this to make sure Joseph goes, blah, blah, blah. So and he even told Turner in a talk, my target is Joseph. So 3 of the 5 out there, including Terrence, 4, knew the target was Joseph. The only one who apparently didn't know the target was Joseph was Joseph. Yeah.
All right, hold on. In honor of Joseph, I'm going to unbutton 1 button. Okay, that's not enough. I'm going to need to do another.
Whoa.
There we go. Because how many he only had like 2 buttons done on his shirt tonight.
Yeah, he might be naked by the end of the episode. Stay tuned. So so here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say is that Joseph. Okay, so I'm sure you guys will know this. That Joseph. By the way, we're talking. Joseph went home tonight. Jasmine went home.
Yeah, everything we're talking has happened. Everything is
This is not surprising. So we're not going to sit here, we're going to in order of what happened. We're just going to talk about what happened throughout the week that led up to the eviction tonight. And what you and I think the aftermath from this is going to be, because it's going to get juicy in there. Or heated in there, whatever word you want to use. So both. Joseph, yes, both. So Joseph and Jasmine are out. But here's the thing. Joseph, in a way, I feel kind of did this to himself. Because he was so comfortable playing both sides of the house all season. Of course, no one ever thought they were going to be split down the middle, of course. But what happens when you play both sides of the house? You rarely win. Now, yes, I know Tyler in season 20.
I was ready.
Played both sides of the house. He didn't win, though, did he? He got all the blood on his hands. Joseph, Thursday's episode, told Alyssa right to her face. She goes, "Did you lie to me?" "Yes, I did lie to you. I did. Did you lie to so-and-so and so-and-so?" "Yes, I did." He openly admitted everything. Now, of course, by that point, everybody already knew that he had lied at that point. But I think what the biggest thing with Joseph is, and even in his interview with Julie, you regret nothing? Really? You sit there and you say, Terrence, I don't regret getting rid of Terrence. Here's what my group wanted. At that point, I'm thinking, did you even try to want to win this game? I mean, you can't, no one has ever sat there and played a true, loyal, honest game and win Big Brother. That has just never happened in 24 seasons. It probably will never happen until the show is canceled. You have to lie at some point. Not saying that Joseph was honest the whole time, because he wasn't. He lied up, left, right, and center. But to regret nothing that you did in there, I feel like there's lots of much truth in that.
I can see that, and I think he did try to play a bit too nice, but also we all know that he was lying back and forth to people's faces. I think he wasn't playing like the nice guy game completely. Like, he was honestly being a damn good liar up to a point where he was able to play both sides and benefit himself as a result. Now, once it got later in the game, and we know that sometimes these people that lie to people's faces consistently, they start losing their stories, and that's the number one issue with lying is if you keep continuing lying, you're going to lose the story, you're going to lose the plot, and I think Joseph got to that point, and it's just he lied to too many people, and then add on that your house gets split in half, so now you have even smaller people who are more willing to talk, as Terrence was saying. It's like, give me all the information. Everyone is willing to talk. They are desperate with a smaller number, and he kind of broke. And that's going to, and now does that play to his anxieties that he's had, to kind of not having Taylor next to him? There's a lot of things that I think played into it, but it didn't help him.
Right. So let's get into, so we go to this veto competition. You have Tiffany from the Cookout last season, who looks good with her new hairstyle. I like it. So we go into that competition, is the fold or stay competition. And let me just say this. Brittany, who claims, and I say claims because I don't believe her, claims to be a hypnotherapist. There is no such ability. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's where we differ. I think there's
no
a way
such
about
thing
it.
as I don't think there is, but maybe that's just me being a skeptic. I don't know. We'll get to that discussion, I'm sure.
We got someone who
future
believes,
episode.
and we got a skeptic over here, or to my left.
Yes.
There we go.
So here's the thing. Gee, this whole I command you.
That's all production.
fold.
That's all production. We all know that.
Yes, of course. But the edit made it look like to be funny. It was the dumbest, most cringy thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, hold on. Let's be honest. There has always been cringe in Big Brother edits. We all know this. We've seen it all season long.
That was just over the top, man. That was just over the top.
Okay, hold on. Was that worse than the tripping competition?
Oh no, that was this. No, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't want to hear anything else, because nothing, I think, in the history of Big Brother is going to beat that competition at all. Nothing in terms of how cringy it was.
Okay. Speaking of cringe, I keep saying Turner. Terrence won the veto with a very simple styrofoam stacking competition. He took, first of all, did CBS just go to the nearest diner and pick up a bunch of styrofoam plates?
So that's the whole point, though. It's supposed to be Dire Fest. Hell, they made them build their own competition. That's how bad it was. It
was ghetto, man.
And I loved it, because that's what Fire Festival was. Fire Festival was ghetto and horrible. And they are making it Dire Fest. It's dire out there. And honestly, I love the fact that, one, they drop all the competition utilities in trash bags. I thought that was amazing. And then they said, so luckily production, all the construction crews this week said, we get a break for once. They get to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And so I honestly love the idea that you make them build their own competition.
Yeah. So we get to the competition again. He won a styrofoam stacking challenge. Not a skill needed for that. I'm just saying, just stack them the right way and hope the wind doesn't catch it. Yeah, it's not, doesn't require a lot of hard work and skill. So I'm not surprised he won one that anybody could probably do in given the right amount of time there. So so Terrence wins the veto, and then on the other side I said Brittany with her hypnotherapist wins the veto. And
hold on. I just want to point something out with the stay or fold. There was if you're Monty and Michael, because it's only you two plus Brittany and Jasmine up, you know that Brittany has 2 letters already.
Yep.
Why don't you just? And then we already knew the fact that Jasmine was folding, trying to get Monty out. So up to that point, why don't you both fold and leave Brittany as the only one, and she wins like automatically?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I will say with that stay and fold is Michael. I think we can both agree to this. Michael would have won if he would have tried. Well, he did try, but if he was not throwing it, I think he would have won because he had first 4 of the 5 answers correct. He would have won easy. But I mean, in a way, it's good he didn't because that would add another competition to his resume, even a bigger, massive target than he already has already. So a smart move for him. Jasmine, on the other hand, just sucked. Let's just be blunt about it, okay? She put how many gummy bears are in this? She put like 7,000. I'm thinking.
The last one of 1,000 for the cans was by far the worst guess.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000. I'm like, I don't even think there's like 800 there. Like, what are you doing?
What was it? It was like somewhere around 300, right?
Yeah, like 300. I'm like, either you are throwing this or you just suck. No, you just suck because you're not going to throw when you're on the block. So that was just it was hilariously bad. So both vetoes were originally thought not going to be used. So Brittany doesn't use it. Let's just rip the bandit off. Brittany doesn't use it. Sticks to the plan of the inside. I'm going to call them the insiders getting Jasmine out. Outside, we have a little bit of a surprise. Terrence does use the veto on Turner. I think even Turner was surprised by that. And puts Kyle up. Kyle's like, what the F with this Donald Trump looking hand signals in the diary room. Oh, no. And how to do it. Sorry, guys. So go ahead.
So talking about this one, I think in part of it, one, Terrence kind of wanted to give himself a backup plan just in case Joseph kind of gave him information and pretty much make a deal. And also, I think it was in return because he said that he told Turner at the beginning of that week that he was safe, and he ended up putting him on the block. And I think that was kind of making it, what's that called? What's it called? I can't think of the word. But he pretty much went back, didn't go back on his word, but brought back and said, hey, I made a mistake. Let me take you off, give you safety, not even have the risk of getting evicted.
Right.
Make right by his word. There we go.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I just don't feel like, okay, I understand Terrence's angle. We even heard it. Give me as much information as you can. We're going to go back. And I understand that side of it. But at the same time, at that point, it kind of we saw in the diary, it's like, it gives Joseph a little glimmer of hope that he might be safe. And then we find out, this is prior to the veto, but we're going to talk about it right now because it goes into Thursday's episode. We find out from Terrence, whoever thought Terrence would spill before going back into the house. I think we all thought Terrence was going to spill after going back. We find out that Terrence spills the truth, that Kyle exposed the leftovers, the name, everybody who was in it, the plan, everything is out in the open and everybody knows. Apparently Joseph was last to find out. Now let me just say this. I was called out on Twitter for saying this. People were in my mentions. Obviously I say it to you because I told you privately. I'm going to say it publicly and I don't care. Joseph will make a very bad lawyer on the outside world. Okay? The whole point of a lawyer is to spot BS that people are giving you. Right? This is like Nicole being a so-called cop. And I said this on Twitter too. If Nicole was really a detective, she was a lousy detective. And I see why she's not a detective anymore. Because you're supposed to spot BS. You're supposed to spot BS that's happening right in front of you. And he couldn't tell that until Terrence told him that Kyle had turned. Even in his speech, Terrence said, I found out some information that there's a big group running the house. 7 people, hello. Like, that's pretty big. Doesn't take a genius to say that. So Terrence spills the beans. And I think this is where Joseph made his mistake. I think that Joseph should have immediately went to Turner and said, hey man, look, Kyle exposed us. Here's what's going to happen. What are we going to do? Kind of get their stuff together. But instead he decides to call out, I guess, Kyle's lies or the truth in some more aspect, because it was true, in front of the whole group.
Now, so my devil's advocate here, maybe Joseph did tell Turner because we didn't have feeds. So
yeah, we're gonna get to that too.
That's up in the air, so we don't know. But I can agree that how can you not see that happen? How can you not see that? But granted, we're also not stuck in a backyard and with the worst food possible with styrofoam cups and having wall yellers constantly make us go inside at some point. Mm-hmm. But I think as a lawyer, I think you'd be much more comfortable in a suit, actually have slept in a real bed. So maybe in like proper conditions, you'll be a good lawyer.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
You're not sold on that. You're not sold on that.
I'm not sold on that at all. I'm not. I just I'm
see
saying,
your face.
Exactly. Just like Nicole with her so-called cop, which I don't believe. I think she's probably a chef or like the local, mayor of whatever city she's in. But I just don't see her being a detective. And if she is, she's a pretty lousy one because she said in the diary, I was trained to know when people are lying to me. And can we just cue the meme of her shocked face whenever Amira went home, because I thought she was trained, but she couldn't spot the lies in the house. But anyways, that's my rant on that. But I will say this. Let me see how well you know me. You know I'm a huge fan of the show.
Okay.
Who do you think, in my opinion, based on tonight's episode, who do you think I was the most annoyed by?
Turner.
No.
Oh, okay. So, all right, first off, I need to knock this down. Was it inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay, because Jasmine would have been my number one guess after that. Just make sure. It has to be Joseph then.
No, actually, it was Alyssa.
What? Ooh,
it was.
Okay.
And this is the reason why. She was so annoying and insufferable because for a couple of things. One, during that meeting, you messaged me in caps, drama,
because I was ready.
So,
and yes. Also, I'm pretty sure that I'm like maybe a minute delay compared to where you're at.
Yeah, I think about a minute or two. But so you're right. It was drama and it was good to see. But I will say the reason why she annoyed me is this: she was kind of getting aggressive towards Joseph. Not aggressive in that way, but like, you let me finish, like in kind of like in that sense, right? But she said, "Oh, Joseph, you've lied to me." Like I said, Joseph, I lied to you. I lied to you about this, and that. And she goes, "Oh, but you want my vote, but you lied to me." And so then, you know what? Joseph's like, "I'm sorry, Alyssa, but it had to be done." He explains. But the one thing that she doesn't realize in that moment, the person that lied to her also is the one that she got 10 seconds from. Okay? It is that guy, Kyle, has done the exact same thing to her. And you're not mad at him. Yeah,
you're not. And you saw her she got mad at Kyle at some point, but it was never to the level that she did with Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
so you don't think she should have been mad at him too, though?
Yeah, no. I agree. She should have been mad at Kyle as much as she was Joseph, but she can't do that because she has a bias. And again, everyone has a bias. Let's be honest,
right?
But she has a bias, so she's not going to get mad at Kyle. And funny enough, Turner's going to get out of this scot-free between the three of them.
And Kyle looks like he might too, unless there's an HOH competition, and depending how that goes, he might get out of the scot-free as well.
So, hold on. Let's talk about Turner real quick.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and move forward to what happens because Joseph gets called to the diary room. This is after that whole argument.
Yeah, right.
Well, the other four, Terrence, Alyssa, Kyle, and Turner, they form a final four called the After Party.
Which is a sucky name, by the way.
No, I like the name. All right. And you have your biases too. I get it. Your big brother biases. I get it. I think the After Party is a solid alliance name, regardless of who's in the alliance.
Mm-hmm.
No, but so they formed this final four, and I think from a fan's perspective, if you're kind of more on the casual side, that it's kind of a odd turn to see Turner make that flip to the other side of the house. Now we know Turner's kind of let's be honest, he's doing a floating game. He's doing a modern day floating game, but actually being very likable to the fans, likable to his housemates. But I think I don't like the idea that he's pairing up with those three, but I also think it's definitely much more of a game move in terms of being like keeping self-preservation over pretty much. And I think by the time they get back to that house, I think Turner's going to rat back to the leftovers, play both sides pretty much, but use that information that, hey, Kyle ratted us out. If you guys win HOH, he's going to go back to the leftovers, side with them, rat out on Kyle, and paint the target on those other 3. And I think that's a good move. And then say one of those 3 wins, he can be like, oh, I'm still on their side, target this person. He can pretty much play both sides of the house effectively.
Mm-hmm. Right. He could. And I honestly expect that to happen because depending on who wins HOH this week, and as of right now, guys, just to let you know, the feeds are currently going on. They're being watched live right now, and the HOH competition is not happening. It probably won't happen until later tonight when you and I are asleep. But we'll recap that for you next week. But, I mean, Turner is someone that I feel could be a wild card in this because he, I feel, had no problem just throwing Joseph to the wolves at that point. Because at that point, he was like, you know what? He saw the writing on the wall. Alyssa was never going to get rid of Kyle, and I think that's obvious. Parents had already made it clear Joseph was going to go home. So even if it was a tie, if it came down to that. So why not just vote him out yourself? Now, since we're on the subject of Turner, Monty, Taylor, Michael, and Brittany on the inside during the week. So this was not shown on the episode. This was shown on the feeds because we basically had inside feeds for a couple of days, thanks to all Yellers. And, Monty and Michael agreed. If Alyssa and Kyle come back into this house, we know who was responsible for it, meaning Kyle. But they're also saying, did Turner play a part in it? And I think that's going to be key, depending on how discussions go when they're reunited. They are reunited now. How discussions go, depending how the HOH goes, that's going to be key to see how Turner gets out of this, if he gets out of this.
And honestly, I think Turner is going to at least last 2 more weeks. I'm going to just put my prediction out there. I think he lasts at least 2 more weeks. Because, again, either way, whichever side wins, I think he's going to run to and he's going to stay with. And that plays out in his favor. The Alliance will probably still think that he's with them while just faking for the other side. And the current the after party will think that he's on their side and ratting out on and pretty much being the spy for the leftovers. It works both ways. And I know you said that Tyler played both sides of the house, but that got him to final 2. And but unlike Tyler, Turner has no blood on his hands. He has very little blood, and he has been very friendly to pretty much everyone in the house. Right.
And that's what I think is going to be interesting. Monty and Taylor also talked this week, which was not shown on the episode. And they said, we're not going to believe anything they tell us until we talk as a group. But who knows what that's going to be like right now as we get into this. So one of the most shocking things of this episode, I did not have this on my Big Brother nightly card or bingo card. I'm stealing that tweet from someone else. Bingo card is Jasmine admitting she was basically faking her injury the whole time. I think we all knew it, though. I think we all knew she was never hurt for 2 months with an ankle problem.
It's funny. You tweeted that out. I didn't even see the tweet, and I messaged you that. And it was like probably like a few minutes apart, but it was like, fam, you've already been faking this. This has been an ongoing thing. What are you doing? Now you're just admitting it. Don't do that.
Exactly. It's amazing. As soon as she ran out of the house and ran down the stairs to Julie, her ankle was fine. But for the past week, she's limping around. That's why she got the nickname Hobbles. She's hobbling around that house, and it was hilarious to see her finally admit it. I did not have her admitting it on the episode. It was not thinking she was going to do it. So what else was not shown? I don't know if you know this or not, man, but last night, Michael, Brittany, Taylor told Jasmine the truth, not about the leftovers, that's Kyle's job, but the truth that she was going to go home. Like, you don't have the votes. This is why we're sitting, and Jasmine was crying, understandably. Tried one last pitch, even though it was not. She said she respected their decision, and she went on from there, so she was okay with it. But meanwhile, with the Dyer Fest, or the outside group, Kyle was working to the last few hours to try to save himself, even though I think you and I messaged it last night, like, it's pretty much over for Joseph at this point. So, I mean, you can see the two completely different games that are being played, which was, I think, the intention of production, is to have two completely games being played. And also, I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. The production's goal was to split up this Leftovers alliance, and that's exactly what has been done. It's now 4 versus 4 going into a new week. But before we preview what's coming, we have to talk about this twist overall as a whole. It's something that's never been done on Big Brother US before. I will say it could have been planned better.
Yes.
A wall yeller ruining feeds for a few days did not help things. Now, for those who do not know, or casuals, or maybe just weren't catching up to feeds, because I will be honest, they were pretty boring after Friday. It was very boring feeds after Friday because there was nothing worth watching. That's another thing that they got messed up. Is like, you planned this twist out, you're splitting up 5 and 5. They're literally in the pool talking about sex, talking about, what we're going to be doing after the show, parties, like all these different topics. And I'm thinking, this is not fun to watch. So it could have been planned better in that sense. Okay. It could have not dragged on as long as it should have. But I think it did its job in shaking up the game, as boring as it was.
It's a good twist. And at least on the show, and concept and execution, what it was shown on the show was a really good twist. Now, yes, for feeders, it was disappointing because you only got one side, and I honestly think there could have been a lot more better feeds on the outside, as we saw. Like, imagine if we got to see that full argument. Yeah. Imagine what else was possibly said. I think there could have been some good stuff on the feeds, but the idea I was thinking was, maybe you go put them in a different set just to make it different. I know you get the backyard, which is everyone knows, it's everyone's comfortable with. Mm-hmm. But I think it would have been if they ever did this twist again, it would probably have to be in a different set just to prevent the wall yellers and just kind of at least enclose them to a safety point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that because it's going to shake things up a little bit. Like I said, this twist for feeders was very boring. For those who don't know, there was a wall yeller. Allegedly, there was a wall yeller. I believe there was, because they would not have shut off feeds for that long for outsiders if there wasn't. The wall yeller, allegedly, there was 2. One of them said, Kyle is a liar, save Joseph. Kyle is a liar, save Joseph. The other one said Kyle is a racist. Allegedly said that. We have no proof or confirmation of any of that. So the reason why there was no feeds for outside for, I think, what was it, 3-4 days, something like that?
It was too many days. Too many days.
Too many days, yeah. Is because they were playing music loud all night up until like 2 a.m. And then they put like a tarp over the top of where the ceiling is. So there would be no like things being thrown over or planes
the
or
planes.
Whatever. Yeah.
What year was it that someone did a plane with a message on it?
It was 2008. It was season 10. I am currently watching season 10 on Paramount. Okay, this is how bad feeds were, dude. I always have been binge watching season 10, Dan's original season. And again, I am inviting you to watch that season. It is so good. If you thought Dan's season 14 was good with Ian and Frank, I mean, his original season was just so good. It's drama from the day one all the way until the finale. It is so good. Arguments, good gameplay, cutthroat gameplay. Very, very good. I highly recommend that season. It's only 19 or 20 episodes. It's not even 40 episodes. Like, it's very, very, very good. That's my Big Brother talk for you. But so getting back to this season though, this twist is going to shake up the house because it's 4 versus 4. You have on one side the so-called after party of Terrence.
Don't say so. Name them properly. Again, I respect this name. This is a good name. Regardless of who's in it, it's a good name. It's much better than
people who are in it. Has nothing to do with people who are in it. I'm just saying, get more creative than after party. The same thing with the leftovers. Like, all right, leftovers, hold on. Really?
All right, after party fit because it was a alliance that was going to leave the party of Direfest.
Okay.
See?
Okay, all right.
It's going to be the after party that they're going to have their fun. if it makes sense, and if they think they're going to control the game. That's where I get it. I think it's a good name. I know that the people on it are the enemies now of this season, but it's still a good name. I'm going to respect it, especially compared to the rest of the bullshit that we've heard all season. Outside of the leftovers, everything else has been a horrible alliance name. I'm going to appreciate a good alliance name, damn it.
Yeah, I will agree. Based on everything we heard, let's go through the names. Five Swatters, Girls,
Pose Pack.
Pose Pack, Old School, like, good lord, get some creative people in there. I don't know, get production to name some of these things. God.
See, now, again, Leftovers is one of the best ones. And then I think After Party is like the clear second. Just in terms of where these name origins come from and how they're being used. That's what I'm saying.
All right. I'll give that one to you. All right. So anyway, back to this. It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to go, because right now you have things going on in the house, as I said, live, like as currently going on.
I just saw an update and I can't say it. I'm going to, again, we made the rule where everything we talk about is up to the point of the episode.
Yeah.
I
know. I just saw something too. Yeah, we'll talk about it Sunday. Well, we'll talk about this after we're done recording this. But okay, so getting to the end of this episode, unless you have anything to add about the evictions. Anything to add about the evictions before we move on?
Let's go. Wait, we got this.
All right.
We're good.
At the end of the episode, Julie announces, with 2 minutes left, we're going to reunite the house. And we're thinking, oh, what the heck? You really could have sped through the Dire Fest eviction to show us at least 5 minutes and then reuniting. But I think we all saw Taylor's face. We all saw Monty's face. They were shook.
They did a good job of kind of like putting that. You could see that fake smile. Like you could see that they were like, oof, but they were trying to stay happy because they saw other people.
Right, and you saw Alyssa's kind of feeling herself. I kind of want to make a joke here, but I'm not going to. So we saw that Alyssa's very
water. Damn it.
Alyssa's kind of. I'm gonna say she's a little cocky now. She has a little pep in her step.
I think that side in general has a bunch of pep in their step.
True. So it is 4 versus 4. Now it is Joseph out. There's a big blow to the Insiders group. The Leftovers are no more, but will they be exposed is the question. Answer this for me. Do you think by the time you and I record Sunday's episode that the Leftovers will be exposed, that them being exposed will be revealed to the other side?
Well, I think so. And I think Turner is going to be the one that spills the beans on that one. And then, probably you're going to see conversations where Terrence and Alyssa are going to talk to these other people, and at some point it's going to come out. No matter, even if it comes out to one person, and then the whole group gets it as a whole. What I do like about this, everyone is exposed pretty much. Everyone knows what side they're playing on, especially with Turner knowing both ways of this now.
Right.
Everyone knows the party lines, and I think that's going to cause a lot of drama and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. So the most obvious question I have for you: what do you think Taylor's and Monty's reactions are going to be when they're either with the Leftovers or whatever remaining leftovers there are at this point? Or do you think that they're going to be okay with it and just kind of move on?
They're not going to be okay with it, especially Taylor. I think Taylor and Monty are not going to be okay with what happened. And if one of those two wins HOH, there will be blood. Like, again, at this point, like we said, it's certainly a 4v4, possibly a 5v3. I'm on the positive side of thinking that Turner is going to stay with the Leftovers at least for Final 5, or try to stick with them as long as possible. But I think this is going to be fun. But again, if Monty or Taylor gets it, Kyle and Alyssa, you look out. Terrence, you're the backup plan if one of those two goes off the block. I'm just saying.
See, the thing is, this is not really a spoiler because, it's obvious. Monty can't play. Michael can't play, and Terrence cannot play in the HOH coming up. So you will have, just based on how they were divided, you will have Brittany, Monty, Taylor on one side. You will have Turner, Kyle, and Alyssa on the other. Now, of course, we both agree we're going to put Turner in the middle of those groups because he is playing both sides. But what do you think the odds are that you'll see a Taylor, Monty, or Brittany HOH?
Well, so that puts it at, because we're at final 8, 2 people can't play, so that's a 50-50 odd. It's a 50-50 split pretty much. Knowing how competitive Taylor can be, because Taylor can be competitive, and she at least has, I would be putting the favor towards them, knowing just with Taylor and Monty alone. Yeah. Because vengeance, it can be a pretty fun tool for some people, and so using that they are out for blood, I think that's certainly an advantage. While now Kyle and Alyssa are going to be, we need to fight for our safety. It's, I think, vengeance is a hard thing to go against.
It is. It's going to be interesting to see how it's. I just have a feeling, dude. It's Big Brother. We never get what we like. This twist is evident of that in a way, but in a way it's not, because it's going to cause some drama. It's going to cause a good finish of the season. But I just have a feeling tomorrow morning when I wake up for work, I'm going to see Alyssa has won HOH or Kyle has won HOH, and I'm like, oh, crap. So, because if it is, the season I think is over. Because at that point, they're going to go for Monty or Michael, who I will just say this, I'm going to throw it out there. I think Michael deserves the win. He has the social game. He has the competition wins, which makes him a massive threat. They're going to go for Monty or Michael. If one of them comes off, they're going to put Taylor up, and one of those three are going to go home if Kyle or Alyssa win HOH. And that would be the nail in the coffin on this season, because if once Monty goes, and if Michael goes, and then Taylor goes, in my opinion, Kyle doesn't deserve to win. Alyssa hasn't done anything other than get 10 seconds to win.
If you lose those 3, I'm going for Turner. Turner's at that point.
Yeah, I agree. We would have to go for Turner. But can you imagine if that showmance is the final 2? Could you just imagine? Could you imagine that? Because it seems like it's going that way. Season 20. Sorry, not season 20. Season 20. What's season 24? I'm getting right. No, this is season 24.
Wait, no. We're
Jackson to Holly.
21.
Okay, you didn't get the showmance out. We all know they made final 2. Then Jackson wins with the most dejected look I've ever seen in 24 seasons of Big Brother, because he was outed as a racist, or alleged racist, in front of millions of national TV. And you don't get the showmance out, and obviously that's a lock final 2, like you just said. And one thing that Terrence said really kind of pissed me off. Oh, Monty and Joseph are bigger threats than the showmance. Okay, a guy between them has won 1 competition. Okay, a guy that has done nothing in Kyle. And let's be real, the competition that Kyle won was bouncing a ball on a platform. It wasn't an endurance. It wasn't a mental comp. It was bouncing a ball on a platform.
Let's be Kyle probably is going to have the weakest social game for 100%. For 2 reasons. One, he's spending all his damn time with Alyssa, even if it is only 10 seconds. He's spending all his time there. And 2, it's just he's not a smart game player. Yes, he's smart enough to protect himself and make the selfish move in order to preserve his game, but he's not looking at the long run. And he's playing a very short-minded game overall. And I think socially that's not going to benefit him. I don't think he has the weakest social game, but it's one of the weakest in the house at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Once they go and connect the dots, obviously, Jasmine, as I said, was not told about the leftovers, so she has no idea. Julie didn't say anything in the interview because she's a juror. But once they can own that jury and connect the dots, and 2 of the leftovers are the final 2, or final 3, then I think that's where things are going to get interesting a little bit. Because here's the thing that kind of got me upset. When Kyle told Terrence about the leftovers, he was, finally the truth comes out. And all of Twitter exploded with, dude, Daniel told you before he left that there was a group of 7 people working together, and he named them all. I mean, he wasn't sure. But when they're in the HOH room for hours and hours and hours, it's obvious. You said it yourself a couple of weeks ago on the podcast around the pool table. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So how is Terrence shocked as hell? Oh my God, there's 7 people. That's obvious.
So the reason Twitter went up because it's finally a leftover saying. It's not just like Daniel or Nicole saying it. It's someone that's legitimately in that group blowing it up, and then again, it's also coming from someone of that group.
I'm talking about Terrence's reaction. You're telling me that he did not know for 2 months or a month and a half, however long it's been, that this group was working together. Even you said this is the worst alliance meeting in history.
Well, granted, no one came outside for some reason to not see said worst secret meeting of all time, but
production.
I don't think in that case, they just got lucky that no one came outside. I don't know how lucky they got, but
yeah,
maybe Terrence was playing it up. Maybe he was just playing that dumb in terms of like, I don't really believe Daniel what he said. I don't know. Maybe I'll give the benefit of Terrence. Maybe I won't. Right now, I'm on the fence. But overall, I don't know how many times we can hear, finally, someone spilled the beans and we heard that. How many times? I felt like I heard it too many times in recaps.
Many times, yeah. Or the whole, DJ Showtime. I'm thinking, okay,
all right. Again, it's production having fun with sound effects because they no longer have the Jasmine wheel that they can do, so they got to go do the next best thing, and DJ Showtime is that.
No, it's DJ Showtime remix. Like, okay, bro, let's calm it down. So, that was just a mess. But let me just say this. You have, I'm going to use your words here, the worst alliance meeting in 24 seasons just playing out there, okay? And Daniel caught it right away. So speaking of Daniel, I got to ask you this question. There's 3 house guests you have to choose from, and you have to pick one of them as the winner.
I don't like this already.
Nicole, Daniel, or Kyle?
This is
tough. I know.
This is tough. I'm trying not to have dead air, so I'm
telling you, bro, it's hard.
I'm gonna stall. I'm already knocking Kyle out. We're not going to think about that.
If it's crappy social game, right?
Nicole at least was nice near the end at the very last few days.
Was she though?
Okay,
let's
narrow it. But I'm going to say it has to be Daniel for while he made the dumbest move possible.
Yeah.
He was still winning competitions.
Okay.
And he at least had the awareness to find out who the group was. Now, why it may have been too late, at least he had the awareness to do it. So just in terms of winning competitions and having some awareness of understanding what else was going in the house, despite not actually using in practice, I don't know why. Daniel, I'll give you the win. I'll give you the win amongst these 3.
Okay. Let's narrow that down to 2. Daniel or Kyle?
I'm still sticking with Daniel.
Okay.
With Daniel.
Okay, so we both agree Kyle just sucks at this game. Okay, so all right. So previewing next week, that everything's getting exposed now, and I say that because they're currently in the house, as I said. Things should be back to normal. Not really. So from these 8, if you had to predict right now who the final 2 would be, or the final 3 would be, who do you think will be in the final 3? Apparently not Kyle. So there we go.
I'm going to say Michael. I think Michael lasts this out. He's still a good competition. I think especially whenever his back is against the wall, he knows how to show up for these competitions, and I think that's an important thing for him. So while he's a target, but like you said, I think you said this in DMs or on here. It's like no one notices it. He is. While competition-wise, he's a huge target, socially, he's a really good social player, and no one's kind of pointing that out. that everyone's going after Monty, as the biggest threat. They've been targeting Monty for how long now? So Monty, I don't expect Monty to stay unless he just remains in power and the remaining leftovers of that 4 just stay intact. I think Turner gets there just from playing both sides. Now, someone on the Twitter thread, this isn't a spoiler, but they said, if Monty, Brittany, or Taylor wins HOH and Terrence sees Turner or Kyle acting like they've still leftovers, he'll out everything, and that could be exciting to watch. So I think that plays against Turner. Okay. You want to comment on that before I move on?
Yeah. So let me say, do you think that will happen? Okay, I think personally I do agree with that tweet. I do think it will be exciting to watch if that does happen, because everything's going to come out. The truth, that Kyle exposed it, that Turner and him were on the block, that why it happened, everything's going to come out. And it would be exciting to watch. But at that point, if let's just throw it out, let's say Monty's HOH hypothetically. And obviously he's going to go for Kyle. I think we all agree on that. But it's that second person. And let's say he's wavering between Alyssa, Turner. And Terrence goes to him with this information. What is the likelihood you see Turner on that block?
That could be likely, but I could see Turner. All right, I'm just going to spoil this. We've already seen Monty and Turner talking already. I'm not going to say exactly what they have, but right. But I think Turner is going to be okay in the end. Just from, okay. I think that Turner will give more information than anyone else can give, and that's someone that Monty knows that he can trust in the long term, because it wasn't him that outed them. It was obviously Kyle, and Terrence will probably say that, oh yeah, Kyle told me. So I think in the end, Kyle will be the target, and Turner can still get off scot-free. Now, continuing on, the final third, I think it's going to be someone we don't like. And I think that could be, I was about to say Kyle, but I think it's more of Alyssa. Unless Kyle somehow gets himself off the block and Alyssa stays, then like this week, say, for instance. But I think just looking at two people that people kind of like, and then I think someone that's going to be that they don't really care for, and Alyssa. Or maybe it could be Terrence. Maybe Terrence somehow gets out scot-free in all this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would say I agree with you on jeez. I unfortunately agree with you. I think it might be Alyssa. And the reason why I say that, look at who's on the hit list right now. I think we both agree Kyle's up there. Michael's up there. Terrence is up there.
Monty's up there.
Who's at the bottom? Taylor,
Brittany,
Alyssa, Brittany.
And
they're
Turner.
the one in Turner. Well, depending on who wins HOH. So I'll put Turner in the middle, depending. But I think the bottom half is Alyssa, Brittany, Taylor. I think we can agree there. The biggest targets would be Kyle, Michael, Monty, those three. With Terrence, I would go in order of Kyle, Michael, Terrence, then Turner, and then the girls at the bottom. And so the safest one, I think, right now, as of right now, again, it could change, is Taylor and Alyssa and Brittany. They're not even looking at those. So yeah, those will skate by. I think those three, unless there's another double eviction coming, which there very well could be, but I don't think there will be. The show is over 1 month from today, my friend. It is August 25th currently as we are recording this. We have 1 month exactly remaining of the show with 8 people to go. So I don't think there's going to be another double. Maybe there will be. I have no idea.
I think there has to be a double. I think there has to be at least one more.
Okay. So if there is a double, because
we need a traditional double. We need the traditional double.
We definitely do. Not this whole let's split them up and give one side hobos for a week.
No, that was fun. That was still fun.
They're still fun, yes. But I think Taylor and Alyssa and Brittany will survive at least if to that potential second double eviction. I do. There's too many bigger targets than them right now. I just did read something which we'll talk about off air when we get off recording this that could be interesting depending how the week goes. But it's going to be interesting how they wrap all this up, put all this together, because it was something I think that Twist worked overall. It did its job. It was just a very boring grind to get there.
Yeah. In the end, we're going to have drama. And we truly have a split house. No matter which side Turner goes to. Because Turner's have to play both sides. But we have a split house. We have leftovers turning against each other, at least, or not all of them, but we had one turnover. So, and we have one leftover out of the house. And we also got, I think we got the dead weight of the season off outside, because I think there's a lot of dead weight that include Jasmine. Not just Jasmine, though, but there was some dead weight that was being dragged along. And I think we're finally off that dead weight train. We have a lot of, these are all players that are serious. I think Alyssa is probably the weakest out of all of them in terms of gameplay. But Terrence is suddenly getting a really good gameplay. 1-2 competitions, and really played that really well in terms of, give me information. I thought that was a brilliant move. Just give me all the information you can. Make these desperate people spill their beans all to you. And I thought that was a good gameplay, move by Terrence. So I think Terrence has become a game player now. He's not really floating along anymore. Yeah. Turner is. Go ahead.
No, I just laughed because this is not a spoiler, but someone just tweeted, well, it looks like it's time to play the HOH. I'm going to go sacrifice my firstborn to Rumpelstiltskin for a Monty or Taylor HOH. My God.
But if you look at everyone in the house, everyone's a good game player. Brittany finally got the competition win. Michael is Michael. Monty is Monty. Taylor definitely has a social game. Turner is playing a great social game and has some competition wins. And then there's Kyle, who's on. While it's a bad game, he's still playing the game, and he made some sacrifices to better himself. So everyone is playing the game at this point in a legitimate sense, and I think it's going to be a lot more fun. It's going to be a lot more fun from this moment on.
Yeah.
Also, don't we get a jury segment next week? I feel like we do.
I was about to say that. We're going to get a jury segment because I don't think anybody wants to see Indy in the jury house by herself. So we're just going to get a jury segment next week and see. I want to see their reactions to see how things go. Jasmine called it right. She said that Joseph was going to go. She was completely right about that. And I will say this. I don't know if you saw this on the feeds, but it was so funny. Alyssa and Kyle were talking. And Kyle told Alyssa, like, look, if you go home, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might just sacrifice myself and evict myself so I can be with you in the jury house. I'm like, bro. Okay, let me just say this. Okay?
Maybe we actually wanted this to happen. Maybe we actually did want this to happen.
Right. Let me just say this. I'm gonna go on an international Big Brother rant for 2 seconds. In Big Brother Canada, there was a couple, John and Netta. I don't know, you will see. They were a showmance the whole season. They got to final 3. John won the last HOH. And it was between him, his buddy, or Netta. And he shocked everybody when he got rid of Netta at final 3, got rid of his girlfriend in the house, took the guy who was the weaker competitor, and won the entire show. And that is what you do to win Big Brother. You got Mr. 10 Seconds over here wanting to self-evict with his girlfriend from a magazine deal in the hopes of getting on a damn soap opera after this. I'm thinking, this is not how you're right. He is the worst social player. He is the worst game player. I think I would actually rank him below Alyssa because at least Alyssa knows when to shut her mouth and not say anything. Kyle's over here spilling crap when he didn't need to spill.
You have players like Steve, who got Vanessa out at the final 3 because he knew that he could not win next to Vanessa. You had Dan, who honestly in season 14, he thought he did a good job by picking Ian a pair next to him. He did not. And also a bitter jury, but
I'm about to say bitter jury had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, a lot to do that. But Ian still kind of won that. But Ian's like one of my favorite players. But I will. It's the bottom 2 are Kyle and Alyssa. Alyssa's like not playing much of the game. Like she's playing the least amount in terms of the rest of the house. She's still playing the game, but she's not doing much. And then there's this Kyle just playing dumb. Not playing dumb, but he's actually doing legitimately dumb plays.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing anything. I think he's just not playing dumb. I think he genuinely is dumb. So, last question before I let you go.
All right.
Do you think this is the biggest HOH of the season so far?
This certainly is. This is gonna guide which side stays in control for the majority of this last month. Because once one of these sides loses one of their members, it's all downhill for that side unless they somehow get power. But the house is split. and a majority is going to be made after this week.
Okay. On that note, who do you think will win, and who do you want to win? I'll say mine too. I'll go first. What do you think? I'll
you
go
go
first.
first. You go first because
Yeah.
actually I think I have a fun week in mind, and
Okay.
go first.
Okay. Who do I want to win?
All right, let's do the ones first, both of us.
Who do I want to win? I'll be honest. Two things: Taylor or Turner.
I was gonna say I kind of want Turner to win because that both sides are gonna play to him, and he gets to direct where this game goes.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wants to take a shot at a big target, he can, or he can get revenge and show the leftovers that I've been favorable to you. A lot of jury management right there, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And put up the showmans. Start take out Kyle. And I think that could be that would just be a fun week of where the hell is this going? Because we won't know.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because you're right. Jury management is important. Michael is doing a great job with jury management, I will say, and it is important because you have to, one, not be a dick to the jury. First of all,
we've seen the bitter juries multiple times.
Yes, we have. Season 14, for example. I'm just going to point that out. So say Dan was robbed of a second win there, but I will say the second that Turner wins that HOH, or if he does win that HOH, that decision, I think, will be a $750,000 decision he's going to make. Because if he turns on the leftovers, he will lose, I believe, every single vote from the leftovers the jury. He would.
He already doesn't have one vote.
which is Joseph. I think he would lose out Monty, Taylor, Brittany, Michael. He would lose all their votes. He would not win the show. Yeah. He will lose with that decision.
Also, I was talking about Jasmine, but
her too. Yeah, her too. we all know with the muffin thing. Oh, that ain't happening. So yeah, that too. So that's what I think would happen if Turner went that route. That's why I think he needs to really think about it if he does win. So we know who you want to win. Who do you think will win?
Depending on the competition, I think it's going to be not a too physical competition.
I think I know the competition.
All right, what do you? Oh no, yeah, we got the spoiler.
Yes, we did. We
All
did.
Right, I'm not going to mention that account name, but they've been on point. I got to give them credit. They've been on point. So
yes,
I'm going to go with Brittany. I'm just going to. She got the veto, and this is not exactly the competition that we're thinking of. It's not exactly an endurance competition nor an athletic competition.
No, it does require a certain skill, and it requires a mental skill. Let's just leave it at that. I think if you guys can figure out what we're talking about, I think you know which one it is, Ty. We're just going to leave it at that. It requires how about I sound like Liam Neeson, two very special sets of skills. So, we're going to do that. I will find you. I'm just kidding. So, I will say this, that if it is that competition, I think a girl is going to win, because I don't see a male doing well in that competition. Unless Michael was there, but Michael obviously can't play. So I do see a woman winning it, and unfortunately, I just feel like this is going to...
Oh, no.
Yes. I just have a bad feeling that this is going to be the competition that Alyssa wins. And if it is, goodbye to the rest of the leftovers, because I don't see how they recover from that side winning. I would love to talk to you on Sunday, or when we record this, and be totally wrong. I'd love to be celebrating a Turner Monty, Brittany HOH. Would love to be celebrating that. I just feel like the power is shifting in that direction after this week. They have the momentum on their side.
Yes, the momentum is you. As much as I hate to say it, the momentum is on that side.
Mm-hmm.
It's going. We're either going to love or hate this week. And we obviously know where the fans are as a whole. Mm-hmm. We know the hero side and we know the villain side. And this season, it's a make or break also point for this season. Are we going to love this season or hate this season?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. But before we leave, Ty, any final thoughts?
Good twist, fun drama, and man, it's gonna get juicy. It's gonna get hot
Yes.
juice. I know does not sound good at all, but in a Big Brother sense, it's gonna be good.
Oh, there's so many jokes I can make, but I'm going to decline to make those right now. So,
Don't! No. I regret I rescind my words. I rescind what I've said, and it's just going to be a fun week.
it's going to be a very fun week, and we will be here to recap it all.
I hate you so
We'll
much
be
right now.
here. I know you do. We're going to be here to recap it all for you. So we will be here on next week to talk about this fallout from the reunited house guests, the HOH competition, that HOH's nominations, and all the stuff in between that you did not see on the episodes this week and possibly over the weekend going into the HOH or the veto HOH, all that fun stuff. We'll be here to talk about it. Ty, thank you so much for joining me, my friend. You can follow Ty on Twitter and all social media at the Ty Jäger right down there. You can follow me on Twitter at the Stephen A for all of your Merrick's Got Talent, Big Brother needs, and of course you got to follow my politics stuff over at Stephen Reports. Have not been very active on the Twitter lately. Been busy with work, so one time we'll
I
more.
know you've been ignoring me all week because like we talk all about Big Brother.
Yeah.
Like, and I get nothing from you this week. I'm like, Michael. We missed a podcast recording once, and he's like, I don't want to talk to Ty anymore.
I know, yeah. You know how it is. So, fun fact, at my job, everyone's called me either Michael, Mr. Michael, which I'm fine with, or Steven, but they always think my first name is Michael, and I'm like, I'm going to respond to it, but you can call me whatever you want at this point, because, it is my...
See, I've never had anyone call me by my middle name before, and I
don't
don't
even
think
know your middle name.
and it's going to stay that way.
Would you like to tell the viewers what your middle name is?
No.
I'm gonna.
I'll let you know afterwards. I like to keep. You know what? I'm gonna make this the big secret of this podcast. What's my middle name? Someone's gonna.
I'm gonna guess it's Eugene, right?
What the? No. That's a horrible middle name. Do I look like I was born in the 30s? That's like the middle. That's not even the middle name. That's a first name of like someone born in the 20s and 30s.
Oh my god! All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Wow,
please.
let's wrap this one up, man. All right,
This has been a strong ending. Strong ending.
It has, and that's going to be the promo for this podcast. When it's Ty's middle name. All right, so for Ty Jäger and for our producer David Bradford, I'm Stephen Michael saying good night from the Fwrd Axis studios. Thank you for listening to Fwrd Axis Live. Wherever you get your podcast, give us a star rating. And we will talk to you next week on Fwrd Axis Live, where the news is always fair and accurate. Until then.
Thank you for joining Fwrd Axis Live. Hear this episode and more wherever you listen to your podcasts. Visit www.fwrdaxis.com to get the latest news happening in our world today. Follow us on Twitter at Fwrd Axis Live